I'm thrilled to be joined once again by Meryl Dorf, clinical psychologist, to talk to us about some of the issues that are coming up during the COVID-19 pandemic. Meryl, thanks for joining me again.
Oh, you're welcome. It's nice to be back. Thanks for having me.
So I wanted to touch on a specific topic today. With stay-at-home orders and more people having to work remotely, couples and people in relationships are forced to be in confined areas together now where they weren't before. So first, can you tell me a little bit about some of the pressures and anxieties that might come forth with people that are just suddenly under each other's feet?
People are really struggling with challenges that they've never come across before. People are working from home. One person is in one bedroom on a conference call. The other is in another bedroom doing work that needs to be quiet. And then they have their kids at home doing homeschooling.
Yeah.
And that's if they're working. Some families are really struggling very much financially because someone's lost their job, they're unemployed, and they're struggling to put food on the table. That's a very big stressor. They're struggling with doing all of this while they're all together. They're having to sit at the dining room table every day and try to deal with each other. And it can cause a lot of problems in relationships, whether you're married or not.
Can you tell me a little bit about maybe warning signs or things to watch out for in the pandemic that might make it even worse? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, it makes me think of an old song from college by Dan Hicks and his Hot Licks. It was kind of a spoof, Texas swing, and I loved it at the time, but I think it could be the anthem for this COVID crisis for couples. It's called "How Can I Miss You If You Won't Go Away?" And I think that's really the challenge right now, the biggest one. The anxieties about the pandemic are kind of obvious by now. But I think one of the challenges of having relationships is trying to keep a balance between, on the one hand, the need for security, for predictability, reliability, that sense of, if I need you, you'll be there. And if you need me, I'll be there for you. But on the other hand, we also have needs for adventure and mystery and surprise. And, that's the stuff of passion and desire. There's a well-known couples therapist, Esther Perel. She talks about how, we don't really desire what we already have, So it's very challenging in this time how to create and keep some kind of space between people, a distance. We call it privacy. It's really a hard thing.
Can you talk about some ways to cope and ways to grapple with these issues? Because they certainly are, in a way, unavoidable.
Yeah, I think what we're talking about is learning good communication skills. A good conversation is, I like to think of it as kind of like a catch, where there's one person who's a pitcher and one person who's a catcher. I see people coming into my office all the time and they both want to be pitchers. That doesn't work very well. So I think during this time where we're sequestered together, we could use it to develop our listening skills, our catching skills. And there are some things to think about. When we raise a complaint, and there are bound to be complaints about each other during this time, it's very important to think about how you raise it. If you focus on someone's behavior, that's something that you can talk about and someone can hear and catch and do something about. But when you really criticize someone and you say, you always do this or you always do that, that's a lot harder, and it tends to trigger defensiveness on the other person's part. So one thing to do is to think about how you're going to bring up the topic And also to think about how you're going to receive it and try not to be so defensive. Try not to just jump in and fix it. Try to really understand, what is my partner really trying to say to me? But I do think that focusing on how to relax, how to disengage if things are getting too tense, are ways to really try to resolve problems.
This is really important information, and I want to thank you for coming on Tap Into TV and talking to us again.
Oh, it's always my pleasure to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
We'll talk soon, Meryl. Take care.